won't say angry, but more anxious and like just really frustrated with the relationship with your kids. Also, I know you guys had a recent loss with your husband, so just want to elaborate a little bit more on that.
I'm sure. Yeah, Greg, he's at school and, he's in sports. So, he just has a lot of young little girls around him. And, it just, I don't know. I guess I'm just nervous about what he could get into, if he's around the wrong crowd or if, the guys are doing something, he's still not 21 yet. I would hate for him to get caught drinking or anything and then he could lose his scholarship. And, if that were to happen, I don't have money to pay for him, to go to school. And additionally, I wouldn't want him to take out all those loans because, I know how I'm supposed to pay student loans back. And I don't want my son, or my daughter, for instance, when she goes to have to deal with that. Just so many things can just go wrong.
It sounds like you're focused a lot on what could happen with your son.
Yeah, I guess as a mother, you see that you have a good child, but it's just the fear of the unknown and, knowing what people did when you were a teenager and then knowing that the things that they're doing now are way, way crazier than what we do, it's kind of scary.
Well, I think that's almost I would say that's a healthy anxiety that you have. Of course, as a mother, you're going to just wonder if everything is all right with your son. But like you said, he's a good kid. You really haven't had any issues with him. I think it's just that maternal instinct coming in. How you want to make sure he's safe.
Right.
So I understand where that's coming in. So what's the issue? What's going on with your daughter again? I know you said that you guys were having some issues.
Jennifer. I just don't even know where to start with Jennifer anymore. I just feel like I cannot reach her, and she just doesn't respond to me. It doesn't matter which way I come at her. If I come at her nice, if I come at her sternly, it just seems like whatever I say, she's rejecting. And she's at that age right now where your peers have so much influence on you and what you do. And
you said she's 16, right?
Right, she is 16, and she says she's not having sex, but I don't. As a mother, you don't know if your child just doesn't want to talk to you about the subject, or if she is and she doesn't want you to get mad. I can't afford for her to get pregnant. And even though, if she does, it's not it wouldn't be like the end of the world or anything, but it would just make her life more difficult,
Well, when exactly, when would you say that you started having problems with Jennifer? When have you guys started having issues with one another?
I guess, in her teen years, it's gotten a lot worse since her father passed.
Okay.
And, I know I'm grieving differently than she does. She's a teenage girl who, doesn't have her daddy anymore, and then...
that can be hard. I know that's difficult for her.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I can't imagine, not having my father when I was 16, so I can't imagine, what she feels, and I'm sure that anger that she feels towards his passing is really kind of just coming out on me, but I don't know what I need to do with her. I tried taking her to counseling. She just shuts down. She won't talk to them. She doesn't trust them. She won't talk to them. I'm sure she's talking to her friends.
What's more of your response to what's going on? Like, what's going on with you in the relationship as far as like with your daughter? Because you're telling me how your daughter is doing and how she's feeling. But tell me about like yourself, because I know you came to see me because you felt like you needed some help with some issues.
Yeah, because I just don't know what I need to do to help my daughter. And being a mother and feeling, helpless is a very bad feeling, especially like for your child. When you're talking about helping your child. I don't know if this is just normal 16-year-old behavior, or if, she's acting out in some type of way because, I'm sure it is a little bit because she's grieving her dad's death, or if this is just her, I don't know, because I've never seen her at 16 with a father. I don't know what she would act like, you know. I guess I just don't know. I guess I just feel lost in what to do.
So what are some things going on between you and Jennifer?
She is just very defiant. I mean, she never. I mean, she used to be the kids. They'll take a little longer when you ask them to do something, but she just flat out refuses to do stuff. You know, or she'll do it, but when she gets ready to do it, and if she decides she wants to do it.
And how do you usually react to that? Like, what's...
You know, I've tried different ways. You know, I don't want to be soft on her because there are certain things that she needs to do, that she has to do. But then I don't want to be too hard on her either because, you know, I know that some of this behavior is just because, you know, she misses her dad. So it's just like, it's a very slippery slope.
I know you guys, just, because it wasn't that long ago, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you can see how that kind of just turned a lot of things upside down. I mean, you went from a two-parent household to a one-parent household. I know, so now with you being a single mother, I know a lot more responsibility comes on you. A lot more stress is probably added. So I understand how that can be difficult on both her part and your part. How do you usually feel? Like you say she's being defiant, she doesn't listen to you. What's usually the reaction between you two? What happens? Do you guys argue a lot? Is there a lot?
We have been arguing a lot, and you know, I'm not a person that really likes to argue. And especially with my child, I mean, I guess I never argued with my parents, and I never feel like, you know, you're a child. If your parent asks you to do something, you do it. I mean, even I'm grown. If my parents ask me to do something, you know, if I feel like it, you know, it's within reasons, I'm grown now, I definitely do it. And I don't know.
So the way you were raised is, you know, when mom and dad said it's time for you to do this, and it's time to get it done.
Correct.
And that's pretty much how you want things running.
And that's how it's always been that way in my house. You know, if myself or, you know, my late husband asks our children to do something, I mean, I understand, you know, since, you know, we're in a new age, you know, kids take their time. I feel like all kids take their time a little bit. You know, you're not, they mostly don't joke. You say, oh, yes, ma'am, I'm getting right up to do something. But, you know, you have a reason about the time. If I asked you to clean your room tonight, you know, maybe you didn't clean it that night, maybe you cleaned it in the morning, you know. And if I asked you to wash the dishes before you, you know, whatever, you might not wash them right in a second, but maybe 20 minutes after your show went off, you would get up and wash the dishes. You know, it's just like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to bed, you know, now because I have to work a second job, and can you wash the dishes before you go to bed? You know, while I get home at, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning, dishes are still in the sink. And it's just things like that, you know, and then I don't want to fight with her in the morning because she's got to get off and have a great productive day at school, but I've just worked 2 jobs and now I've got to come home and wash dishes, you know, when I didn't even get to eat dinner, really, you know what I'm saying? And it just gets frustrating, and I'm frustrated, and I know that in my side, you know, I haven't, because I'm trying to raise, you know, my kids, and I still have to work and push on, you know, I still haven't really grieved the death of my husband, whom I love, who was my high school sweetheart. You know, I feel that huge void myself, and I don't want to take, I know that she's taking her anger out on me, and I can take it because I'm an adult. I don't want to take my anger out on her, but I still need her to understand that even though, you know, she no longer has this father, and I no longer have my husband, this world isn't going to stop for us, and that she has to, you know, move forward. I don't know how to help her to move forward. So I guess that's why I feel like I'm letting her down as a parent. And I'm her only parent left, so if I let her down, then, you know, she's pretty much, you know, I don't know what's going to happen to her.
I see how that can be frustrating. I see, like, when you say you come home after working 2 jobs and you're frustrated because she's not listening to you. So I understand that you're frustrated. It's probably because, like you said, you're tired when you come home.
Right.
And it's easy for you to get upset with the fact that she's not listening to you. So I see where you're coming from with that whole situation that you're speaking of. Communication. be some issues just with communication in general. How's the communication between you two?
I honestly feel like I talk to her, it goes in one ear and out the other ear. You know, like I said, before my husband's death, you know, it's probably, you know, teenage girls and their moms will say don't get along. I don't know how that is really, because I always got along with my mom during my teenage years. So it's a little new for me, but you know, I'm tough, I can handle it. However,
so I see you do compare a lot, like when you were growing up.
Right.
And how your relationship was with your mother, and how you responded to your parents, and you do compare that a lot to your daughter now, and you do. It sounds like you feel like it should be similar.
Well, you know, you always hope and pray as a mother that you have a great relationship with your daughter all the time. You know, I mean, my mom and my older sister, I wouldn't say it was a love. I mean, it was tumultuous. You know, it could get really bad at times, and it was uncomfortable for the rest of the family. You know, it caused tension in a household, and so, you know, I always tried to be, you know, even though I'm a stern mother and I want things done, you know, I always try to be a very loving mother, and I hug, and I tell my kids I love them all the time, because I always wanted that great relationship with my daughter. And I understand, you know, teenagers are going to be teenagers, so, you know, I understood that, you know, I might not have the same exact relationship that I had with my mom, because most teenagers don't have, most teenager women don't have that with their mother. However, it does kind of hurt me that, you know, she is going through this, and I mean, I'm sure her pain is immense. I mean, I have a hole in my heart, so I can't imagine what kind of pain she's feeling. But I don't want to let bad behavior slide, because...
And that's the dilemma.
Right. In the real, you know, it's like, you try to let things go, you know, I try to be kind of easygoing and not let everything try to get to me, even though I might get frustrated or whatever. I try not to show it, even though I'm sure I do a little bit. But I don't want to just let it go to the point where it gets out of control, because once you have a teenager that's out of control, there really is no coming back from that. You know, you see these kids, these terrible kids in there. I mean, these kids they're telling their parents what to do and everything at 4 and 5.
So you feel as if, like, if you don't address I guess I would say the relationship between you and your daughter and how she's behaving now, you think you'll lose her?
I feel like it can only get worse.
So it's safe to say that you are operating a little bit out of fear, because you just fear what could happen with your daughter if everything is not addressed, I guess, right now.
Right. Because, I mean, you've seen those kids that have run their parents, and you be thinking, oh my gosh, when they get a teenager, I mean, if they're like this now, when they become teenagers, you